All right, welcome everyone. In this video, I want to continue our work with while loops, and I want to talk about a situation that can get really problematic, and that is while loops. We're not indicating the set number of times we want to iterate that loop like we do with for loops. So it's possible for a while loop if the condition that is kind of seeding the loop is always true, then that while loop is going to run forever, indefinitely, for all time, and it's never going to stop. So let's take a look at this code over here. And I'm going to copy this and paste it down in this code cell below. And here is a case that if you had code like this and you were working like in RStudio and you tried to knit this to a HTML document, that knitting process is never going to end because this loop is never going to end, or that rendering process is never going to end. So here's a case where, okay, let's see what's going on here. I have I, which is equal to 2 at first. So that means 2 is bigger than 0, so that is true. So that means I is going to be squared, and now I is equal to 4. And now it's going to say, okay, I is now equal to 4, and 4 is bigger than 0, so it's going to go and try and check that condition. Great, so now I is going to equal 4 squared, which is equal to 16. And then it's going to go down and say, okay, I is equal to 16. 16 is bigger than 0, so that is true. So now I is equal to 16 squared, and so on. So each time we do an iteration of this loop, I is getting squared and it's actually getting bigger. And when you square a number, it's never going to be negative. So this loop is never going to end because we're never going to end up with a value of I which is less than 0. It's just going to get more and more and more positive. So I'm going to run this code. And I could sit here, I don't know, if I had some jokes, I would tell you some jokes, but this would run forever. This is never going to stop, or your computer is going to crash. Those are the two things that are going to happen. So if you want to stop this code from running, there's a stop button that I can hit over here, and that stopped it. That ran for 19 seconds. I'm going to run this again. And another way that you can exit this out is you can go into the runtime menu in Colab and restart the session, interrupt the execution, and so on. So here, I'm going to interrupt the execution, and that just stopped that code from running. If you're working in RStudio or Posit Cloud, there sometimes is a stop button available in the console like this one, but you can use keyboard shortcuts or go up to the session menu and click interrupt R, very similar to what we just did here. So if you ever get a situation where your loop is running and a minute has gone by, you probably did something wrong and you just want to stop that loop, or at least double check your code to make sure that it's running properly. So that's how you definitely want to avoid getting yourself into infinite loops with a while statement. Okay, so in the next video, we'll take a look at how we can code up a while statement to go through what's called a bisection.